meteorologist Chase Jones.
Well, I tell you guys, it was breezy all day, and as we made our way into the afternoon, you definitely saw a lot of that high cloud cover evaporating underneath that West Texas sun. And we're going to hold on to these breezy conditions for a couple days, but you see how warm they are out of the south? That's some prefrontal warming, some pretty strong systems that are making their way across Oklahoma, and some cold air is making its way down from the north. So we're going to continue to see a lot of dry southerly flow for the next couple days, but it should calm down by tomorrow night around sunset. Now, from those lower 70s, right up into those mid 90s, and we're holding on to those mid 80s, and we'll see how quickly we cool off with those strong, warm southerly winds. And as we make our way into this weekend, we're going to continue to keep our eye on some of this cloud cover as the tropics start to get more and more active. 87 in San Angelo, everybody else at 86 degrees, if not those lower 80s across the entire area. So we've cooled off significantly from earlier. So despite seeing sunset and the southerly winds, we're tracking how quickly we're going to make our way down into those 70s before we rally right back up into those 90s. So we are continuing to practice hot weather safety. 87 in Sterling City, 86 down there in Junction, looking like about 3 degrees across the entire Concho Valley, but it's a beautiful summer night. Now, this time last year, we were 10 degrees warmer overnight. We were settling in those 80s. Daytime highs were around those triple digits, and you saw the record there at about 109 back there in 1924. Big shout out to the National Weather Service team as they continue to work on the update with all the other information making their way in. Now, you heard Zoe talking about AI and all the technology that's going to continue to make weather more safe. Dew points are up there in those 50s and 60s, while humidity indices are in those 30s and those 40s across the board. You see more high humidity off towards the east, but we take you into the moisture tracker because we're tracking the dry air trying to make its way down from the northwest. Now, I'm going to talk about it for a while. Concentrations of orange are not going to work their way up too far across the southern coast of Texas, but they're going to hover around Mexico on both sides of the coast. Now, that's a pretty active season when we're talking about the upper level pattern. Here comes the cold air. It's going to create a blocking pattern. This will push the high pressure off towards the east. It's going to ridge in. It's going to hold a lot of that subtropical activity just off towards the south. Now, as this cold front makes its way across the Sierra Madres into our area, it could pull some of that tropical activity down around our region. But right now, model data seems pretty confident, but it's too far out to say yes or no. It would be pretty ambitious to say yes. Now, water vapor imagery showing you circulations that are trying to form. Everybody's just been racing back and forth between Kansas and Oklahoma all day. You see it erupting across the panhandle just outside of the Concho Valley. Now, severe weather outlook has not moved from this bullseye all day, and it's just skirting outside of the Concho Valley. Now, down at the surface, we're seeing a lot of those severe thunderstorm watches and warnings expire, but it's still just trailing all along the entire region. Futurecast is going to show you. Well, let's go over to the tropics because I keep talking about how active it is. I'm really getting ahead of myself. Tropical storm Eric has not quite become a hurricane yet, but it's still moving in that northwesterly trajectory. Slated to become a Category 2 by tomorrow, Category 1 before it makes landfall. It will follow that high pressure as it makes its way into the Concho Valley. Now the Futurecast. Take a good look at these storms making their way across Oklahoma. That's the circulation we have our eye on as it continues to ride that high pressure, that instability. Now, down towards the south, you see that cloud cover making its way in closer towards Juneteenth and closer towards the parade weekend. Now, they're going to restock the fish on Friday, and I'm going to continue to keep my eye on fishing conditions. 2:30 by Friday afternoon, then I run out of data. So tonight, southerly flow dropping us all the way down into those 70s slowly. Then tomorrow, a good run at those triple digits, but it should be calming down by sunset. So we're still practicing hot weather safety. As we get closer towards the weekend, things are cooling down with that cold air making its way down from the northwest. But as we sort of round that corner towards the 4th of July, we're going to remain down in those lower 90s while those overnight lows lock themselves in those lower 70s. Stay tuned for more to the break. You're watching KSAN News at 10.